Witches, what's up? Can you see me? Can you hear me? I think I'm sideways. The right way? Hi, there you are. What's up, witches? What's going on? Okay, so I'm a little discombobulated right now because, hi Lynn, you hear me? Oh, that's good. Hey E. Harris. Yeah, so I'm a little discombobulated right now because there was a leak, not in my apartment, downstairs in the apartment below, and my super, in my building, I'm home, I'm in my building, the super here is literally the exact opposite of the super at the shop. This guy is the worst. And it's been like a couple days back and forth of him trying to figure out where the leak was coming from. And then he does, and of course he just like hacks a hole in the wall, slaps something around, says he fixed it, and then just like leaves. So, you know, Sunday is my me day. Sunday is my get my life right day. You guys know, of course, I didn't sleep much last night because, hello, full moon in Leo. And now I have to add cleaning up the bathroom and the mess he made to the list of things to do today. And also figure out how to like patch up the hole in the tile that he totally left. Like he fixed the leak, but he broke open, you know, the faucet, you know, like how it goes into the wall and then there's the tile around it. So like to take the faucet thing off and look in the wall, he like broke off some of the tile and then he just like stuck the faucet back on and then left. So now there's, unbelievable. So it's not terrible. I'm always grateful. Leaks can be such an unbelievable just pain in the ass, and this one seemed to be fairly minor. Not 100% sure if it's fixed. He was like, if it's not fixed, I come back tomorrow. I was like, okay. So, you know, but anyway, so that like started my day kind of like, How are you guys doing? What are you up to? Hopefully nothing is leaking in your space. All things are dry and warm. I'm warm and dry, thank goodness. I hope the lady downstairs is too. She's an older lady, so I hope everything is fine. How are y'all? Are you guys having tea? So I don't know who's in here with us or who will be in here with us because I was trying to set my set the video to members only because sorry, high tea is usually members only, but it wouldn't let me. So I don't know what that's about. I don't know if I should look into that. I don't know if I'm in trouble for having high teas. I hope not. But anyway, yeah, it wouldn't let me set it to members only. So we could have a random smattering of folks. I do see Coven folks, though. Hello, Regina. It's about 56 degrees in Colombia. How lovely. Very typical for this time of year, I think, down there. We're having, like, kind of weird weather in New York. It hasn't snowed yet, which is very strange for us. It just got super crazy cold the last few days, and I haven't been outside today because you know how I do on Sunday. We do not go anywhere if we can help it. But judging by the amount of heat that's on, I'm going to say it's cold outside because I got the heat pumping right now. Okay, but I'm about that onesie life today. I'm about that pajama life. This is the midway through the pajama thing. You guys know on Sundays I stay in my pajamas. but I was up so much last night that I never really like put on my pajamas. So early this morning, I took a shower and was like, what's like house clothes, but also kind of like PJs? I know, a onesie. So we're cuddled up in the onesie, which is perfect for this sort of ambiguous, is it cold, is it hot weather. But yeah. What are we drinking? Are we having tea? Last time I feel like folks, shamed me because everyone was drinking tea, and I am once again technically not. Okay, I am having some mud water, my coffee alternative that I'm into lately. But I feel like this is sort of like mushroom tea, essentially. You know what I'm saying? It's not so different. But yeah, I'm having some mud water. Are you guys having tea as well? Are we teeing it up in this high tea? Usually when it's all coven members, it's like a whole bunch of actual tea drinking. So I don't know what y'all will be doing. You just finished some hibiscus tea? Yum. Hibiscus has been on my mind a lot lately. I think mostly because I use it in my Love Attraction spell soap. And some of you guys know I used to make my spell soap and make all 5 of the different intentions that I have readily available. And then Spirit was like, nope. And so now I only make them when I feel called, and it's usually 1 or 2 of them at a time. And so, of course, not really much of a surprise there. I did feel really called to make the Love Attraction spell soap. And it's so funny because I haven't been feeling like I was in the right space to make that soap for like the last couple of years. And now something like has really lifted and shifted, and it feels really good. And I was like, oh, wow, I am like really in a loving space, and I really want to share that. So, yeah, I'm excited to make that. And that soap features hibiscus actually on top of the soap as a botanical, as well as in the oils that I use in the soap and the herb blend that I use to make the oil. Yeah, all the way through. So, hibiscus has been on my mind. I ordered a big bunch of her from one of my herb suppliers. And I think it's going to take a little longer to get to me than I'd anticipated. So I hope I have enough on hand. But yes, shout out to hibiscus. I think I saw someone was having chai. You guys know how I feel about chai. Hey, Cambria. Having a decaf iced pumpkin spice latte. Ooh, okay. So, up my alley back in the day. Not so much these days. Hibiscus and chai spice lattes. Yes. Well, that's really good. Can you guys hear those sirens? I put my microphone on again today. I think I listened back to like the last surprise high tea, and I was like, oh, this is good. I like the way it sounds. It obviously doesn't like block out all the noise, but it helps a lot. It helps. It really helps. I'm trying to decide if I should tell you guys my surprise now or if I should make you wait. It's kind of a surprise. I've talked about it before. So some of you may have known that it would be coming, but I didn't know that I was going to be pulling together. Technically, it is not yet actually a thing. You gotta wait till you sign on the dotted line and like make some payments, and then things are a thing. But I'm pretty sure it's going to be a thing, and I'm excited about it. I am excited about it. I think it's gonna be a thing. I'm just making sure I said hi to everybody. They don't have like a wave feature on YouTube like they do on IG. Okay. Okay, I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you. Okay, so you guys know how I have my purple high tea mug that we have all enjoyed over the years. And of course, we have our high tea sessions. And this mug has been a part of all of those. I have been talking about finding a way to supply these mugs to you guys so that if you want to be a part of, you know, the high tea mug crew, you can. Hi, Light Turner, welcome. And I did it. I found a supplier of the mugs. Yes. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. So we're going to be getting some high tea mugs. I'm going to be able to make them available to you in the shop so you can get them in person or you can get them online. And I decided, I was like looking through the catalog, you know, Cambria Head, yes, I know. Finally, right? I've been talking about this for a while. And I was like, you know what? It makes so much sense, especially because it's not just something that like Coven folks would get, like the high tea thing or like enjoy, but people who come to the shop because we sell tea. I make tea and I make smoke blends and we have those in the shop, and so the mug is really kind of perfect for not one but two of the things that we have in the store. So it just makes sense to me. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna get this. So we are gonna have a high tea option, but I have noticed that almost every time that we are together, there's at least one person drinking coffee. Sometimes I'm the one drinking coffee. I'm having like a coffee alternative. Not everybody is a tea person. So I'm also going to have mugs that say premium roast and toast for my coffee drinkers. Isn't that cute? High tea and roast and toast. And I was like, you know what? If I go live and I'm drinking coffee instead of tea, I should call the live roast and toast instead of high tea. And then that way you'll know what I'm drinking when you come into the live. Isn't that kind of cute? Isn't that kind of cute? I think it's kind of cute. So anyway, there will be high tea mugs and roast and toast mugs in the shop very, very soon. So keep your eyes peeled for that. There'll definitely be an email about it in your inbox if you're on the mailing list. So, you know, hop on that if you want to know for sure when it happens. I'm really glad because I was able to find a vendor who was okay with supplying me like smaller amounts, because that's often the struggle with, not struggle, but like challenge, I guess, when trying to like have something in stock but having, you know, smaller space and things like that, smaller budget. Some places or items that you're getting, you're required to get like 1,000, you know what I mean? Uline boxes, you have to get like 25 packs of 25 boxes. Like that's like the minimum order. Like where the hell am I gonna put that? So this vendor was like, yes, we can work with you. We understand your order will be small. We know you're going to love them, and, you know, you'll have larger orders in the future. So shout out. Shout out to them. They made it happen. So you know what I'm saying? Got to finalize everything, but should have them soon. I thought it was going to take like a month for them to ship. And they did too. That's what they originally told me, but it's looking like they might actually get to me sooner, so that'd be cool. Yay! Get excited. You too can bring home the beauty of one of our covered mugs. I am so excited about that. I know that at least Cambria is, and that's really all that matters. You definitely want a mug. Yes. Hi, Johnny. Yes, I feel like it's gonna take off. You know what I'm saying? I don't know why it hasn't. I don't know why. Just take your money. I don't know why. And they're not going to be pricey either. The people, they were good to me. They were like, look. They were like, look, you know what? So it's going to be, it'll be fine. Like it won't be bad for the wallet, I don't think. So yes, it's going to be good. But I don't know why I don't see these mugs more often. I feel like it's kind of a missed opportunity. Thank you. I'm glad that you feel that way. It's very, I like things that are dual purpose, I think. Also, it's cute. And then you have to play on words. Yeah, so I'm excited. There'll be 2 color options. And you know, Spirit is just like so wonderful. Like, anyway, the color scheme of the mugs is connected to the spirit that has one of the spirits that's really been like there for me and showing up and a big part of each queue. And I'm just having like a moment of gratitude, just realizing how cool that is. But anyway, I get to share that with you guys. That's going to be fun for me. And I just think they're smart. You know what I'm saying? 2 birds, 1 stone. You have your herbs in your cup. You've got your herbs in your pipe. Why not put them together? And they really are, like, when I first saw this mug, I was like, you know, that kind of looks like a novelty item. I don't know if it's going to actually be functional, but nope. Totally functional. Actually really enjoy it. And, yeah, easy to clean, all that good stuff. So, handle up on a mug, yo. Keep your eyes open for when they're available. Also, I put a new design in the merch shop. Hey, Valentonia. I was excited about that. I think I'm going to try to get like a couple more designs made for us because now I'm starting to have like fun with it. At first I was like trying to figure out how to use the platform for the merch shop and stuff like that, but I'm actually really liking it. And I put a new design up in the merch shop. You can now just get the spray paint BronxWitch by itself on a whole bunch of items. And now I'm really torn about what I'm going to get for myself. My February reward, my planner, my like regular life planner. Oh, I should show you guys that today too, because I'm talking about journals. But my regular planner is a Commit 30 brand planner, and like it is designed to take you through 30 days of committing to something and then rewarding yourself when you get it. So my February reward is merch from the merch shop, like just for me. And now I'm really torn about what I want to get myself. I might just like kind of splurge a little bit and get both things. But I really like the HQ design that's in there now. It's different. It's not the original logo. It's now our, hey Mika. It's now our Blue Lotus symbol version of our logo for the HQ designs. And now we have the BronxWitch, the spray paint BronxWitch design. So you can handle up on some merch. But if you're waiting for this particular mug, keep your eyes open because that'll be available in the HQ shop. Okay. So that's that stuff. Those are the updates I wanted to update you guys about, I think. And I wanted to talk to you a little bit about like journals and magical journals real quick. And I won't keep you guys too long, but this was coming up quite a bit for us when we were talking in book club. We just read How to Study Magic by Sarah Lyons for our January book. And I got to thinking about like magical journals. I made a video a while ago that was about how I was like not keeping my Book of Shadows in the most productive way or with the most productive approach. And that's really old, so I don't know if folks have seen that. So I wanted to elaborate on the magical journal thing and like an approach that you might want to adopt if you're trying to write journals or keep journals for your magical or spiritual divination, progress, what have you. Because I do think journaling is really, really important, but the act of journaling itself is not necessarily like super, super obvious, especially if you know, maybe don't do a lot of diary keeping, journal keeping on your own. So I wanted to show you guys a little bit of how I organize my journals. And I know Betty, like when Betty watches the replay, she's going to be like, yes, because Betty really kicked off the conversation about keeping journals and having too many and like having a journal for this and a journal for that and a journal for this and a journal for that. And I wanted to show you a little bit how I organize so that that doesn't happen and I don't have a million different journals, but you do end up with a number of journals. I think if you start journaling your progress through anything, I think that's going to happen. So like, don't be upset with yourself. But if you feel like you have a million journals and you don't keep up with them, then that's not really productive. You know what I'm saying? So, hi, Val. Highlight Turner, I said hi to you already. And I'm not ignoring you guys. Sometimes the comments are distracting. So I try to answer questions and stuff like that, but I can't respond to all of them. Okay? But thanks for being here. Hi, Ellie. What's going on? Welcome, welcome. What's up? We were just about to get into some journal talk. I also wanted to know, you just read my mind, Ellie. Wow. I was literally just about to say, I also wanted to know what people were doing for the full moon. If you watched the live Tea and Tarot yesterday, enchantment was our oracle message, and that's really kind of all the messages wanted to focus on for each of the zodiac, like how to use this particular full moon energy, which we're like riding the peak of right now. It was at its peak at exactly at, was it 128 or 138? It might have been 128. Somewhere around here, p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the moon was exactly full in Leo. We're an hour past that now, so we're really riding the wave of that. And it seemed like just about everybody was going to be motivated to do some type of magical or spiritual work or to use this energy in some way, or could, you know, benefit from doing that. So that made me curious about what people are doing for their full moons. I also thought it was really interesting that I felt, you guys know I'm super impacted by Mother Moon. What she does, I do. So I have to pay attention to, well, I guess I don't, but I like to pay attention so that my life is like less shocking, you know, like I can kind of ride the waves and know what to expect. But typically for the full moon, I take a spiritual bath. Y'all should know this by now. New moon, we fast. Well, not we, me. New moon, I fast. Full moon, spiritual bath. And I really felt like last night was not it. you know? So I don't know if you guys felt that way. I felt like last night was not it. I felt like for me, tonight was the night to like really call the energy in. And I don't know if I was just really tired from the week or what it was. But I've noticed a few folks having like their rituals or gatherings and things tonight too. But I felt like I had to like get into it. So, anywho, tonight will be bath and a very special ritual that one I can't really talk about because I'm before it, maybe after it, but also because YouTube wouldn't let me make this video members only, I think. So, but I have a very special ritual planned for tonight that's like not really planned actually is what I would say, because it's not. There's just been something that's been coming to me like over the past several months, and like little bits and things and items and information and stuff has just been sort of like percolating and gathering. I'm sure this happens to you guys, where you like get things and you're like, I know that this is of significance and I'm going to use it at some point, but I don't know why exactly yet, but I need to keep this. So that was happening to me for the last several months, and now it's like clear and I'm like, this is what I'm putting together. Now I get it. So that part has happened, and I realized that that should happen tonight. But like the exact details I haven't carved out. So I will do that at some point today. But so that's going to happen tonight. I'll charge my bath, and then in the morning, very, very early, I'll get up and I will take it and I will start fresh, you know, start a new cycle. So that's my full moon plan. We just passed Imbolc, February 2nd, which is low key one of my favorite Sabbats. It does not get a lot of attention. It's very underrated, and I think we should give it a little bit more love, if you ask me, because I don't know, I just feel like my juices get flowing again around this time of year. And I like to celebrate that. Like, nothing about December 31st, January 1st, hi Ivy, feels like a new year to me. Like, nothing about it. It doesn't, I have probably ranted about this before, but it doesn't gel with anything. It doesn't gel with what nature is doing. Typically, I mean, we're having a weird stretch of nature or weather here, but it doesn't usually gel with what like nature's doing here in like the Northeast. It doesn't gel astrologically. It just never really feels like a new start time for me. You know, it's Samhain, and then it's like a rest period. And then February 1st comes around and I'm like, that was a really good nap, you know? And I think that's also a part of what makes like celebrating family holidays and stuff, aside from like my issues with the holidays themselves, what makes celebrating anything like in the November, December months really hard for me is that I just want to be resting. I just want to be hibernating. I just want to be recharging, resetting. You know, and people want you to fucking like throw parties and shit. Like, you know, set goals. Like, no. Let me rest, you know? So February is good for me. So, and energetically, I feel like everything's very like in alignment with that this year. The planet's going direct as February is starting. Us having like this weird stretch of like weather, like clear weather. I don't know, everything about it just feels very like it's time to restart and refresh. And I did my detox. I did my 2-week detox beginning of January. What's up, Nuri? Happy full moon. We were just talking about our full moon ritual plans at the start, but I did my detox at the start of the year. I did my 2-week detox. I was good. I missed like one day, but I was good otherwise. But I feel like that detox even though it was physical, because I was obviously taking my detox potion, drinking my tea, it felt more spiritual for me. And now I feel like I do want to do a physical detox. Like now I do want to really focus on that, because January, let me tell you something. January was like, I think because I couldn't literally hibernate, because I have to be in the shop right now every day, all the time. And, so since I couldn't actually physically hibernate, it's like all of my rituals, all of my practices, all of the things that I try to be consistent with were like, you know what? We'll take a vacation for you. You can't take a vacation, so we're going to take a vacation. My veganism took a vacation. Some of my spiritual rituals took a vacation. The way that I typically eat and things like that. All of that was like, we're going on vacation. You're just going to let loose. And January was just like a let loose. I'm talking about, I have eaten cakes and donuts. It's just been abundant is what it's been. And I have slept in late every day. I've gotten back into bed after my alarm has gone off, and gotten to the shop like within moments of like whatever meeting or podcast recording or the opening of the shop. Like I have literally I have been smoking, which you guys know I was only doing at the full moon before, but in January was just like my treat to myself. And I have just like let go. And it has been fantastic and very needed. And I think I needed that for this like part of the evolution as well, because I needed to kind of say bye in some ways to a part of me and say like, oh, and also acknowledge them. Sorry, I'm ignoring you guys now. Oh, no. Okay, yes, no, I'm caught up. But yeah, I just needed to like acknowledge that there were indulgences, I guess, and things that needed to be addressed, and a new way of being that I'm going to need for like this next stage of my life. So now that like that, I guess, is clear, my bath and the ritual that I'm doing tonight, the significance of it and everything is now clear to me. So that's what's going on over here. What's going on over there? What's going on over there? Dry January. No, I didn't do a dry January, I guess. I don't drink so much anymore. I might have a glass of wine or two if I go to like a function, some type of an event or something. But I bartended for 15 years and I drank more than my fair share. So I'm saving it for the fishes. Let everybody else have some. So I don't drink so much anymore. Yeah, self-discipline. I think, something I've learned, shout out to Lane, my therapist. But I think something that I have learned working with her is that sometimes our parents like kind of don't raise us. I guess it depends on the types of parents that you have. But sometimes your parents don't really raise you. They might set expectations and say, do this, clean your room, be good in school, behave, do these things. But they might not actually teach you how to do those things. And for those of us who have parents like that or grew up with parents like that, there's like some extra raising that needs to be done for yourself when you grow up, I think. So I'm realizing that about myself. I have a Leo complex, which means that I which is something that I just made up right now and is not really a thing. So, you know, don't like stress it. But I'm calling this element of my personality that I do think is influenced by my Leo sun sign, a Leo complex. And I think that a part of my nature is to be concerned. Well, first of all, I like to host people. But is to also be concerned about how I appear and things like that. So I am always able to like pull myself together enough for like outside appearances for it to be like, oh, okay, Allie's got it together. If you come over to my house, I can like scramble, put things together, throw things in closets so that it's like, oh, okay, everything is fine in here. But it's not necessarily because I'm not consistent and disciplined to like, you know, just keep those things cleaned all the time. So when people come over, you don't have to do that. Like that part, I was never really taught. Like my mom would tell us, clean your room, and then we would be in trouble for failing to do so. But I don't ever remember her being like side by side with us being like, okay, this is what you do. Or even in her own life, because like she's kind of junky. Herself, she has a tendency to kind of like leave things around, and so there was no one being like, this is how we develop a good habit, this is how we discipline ourselves and be consistent and do something repeatedly even though it's not pleasurable in order to get where we need to go. This is how we create a life and create a lifestyle and create a frequency that goes with a lifestyle that you say that you want. This is how we do that, you know. When you don't have magical parents, you know, you don't have someone talking a lot about manifesting and talking about how you step into the things that you want. I think most people, which is not like a judgment, but that's why being a witch is maybe a little cool. But I think most people just kind of feel like life happens to you. So if your living circumstances are a certain way, it's because it's happened to you. And I don't think we spend enough time thinking about how we create, you know, who we are and what we have. And that's where discipline, I think, comes from. That's the root of it. To be a disciplined person, I think you have to realize that you are creating a reality. It's not just about holding yourself to a standard and being like, oh, I checked off this box. It's about realizing that by taking certain steps, you put yourself in alignment with something that you want, and that is how you call in and create. Hi, Betty. We were talking about you earlier. I'm trying to remember why. I can't recall. Hi, though. Welcome. Hi, Nat. Yes, we were talking about you, but I can't. Dang. What? Oh, journals. Yes, that's why I was going to talk about journals today. We are going to talk about journals briefly today because I think in book club. Hi, Madeline. You were talking about having too many journals and maybe not finishing them all or feeling like you keep adding to them or things like that. So I wanted to show you guys my current journal system, like magical journal system, in the event that it would help. So yeah, actually I'm also gonna grab my planner because it really is a part of my magical journal system. This Commit 30 journal, this is not an ad, that I've been using for like the last 5 years, and big fan. And it definitely is like a part of like the system for daily practice, or like making sure that my practice is a regular part of my everyday life. Yeah, so my mom is an Aries, so she does not give two fucks. So If people are coming over, the house looks how the house looks. These days, especially in her life, because she's older, so she's like not even about that life. I'm the one who will scramble around to be like, people are coming over and like try to throw things out and clean things up real quick because I'm concerned about that. And it's a combination, like I said, for me of being concerned with how I present, but also because I enjoy hosting and I, 15 years in hospitality, like you're gonna eat on real plates and silverware and things are going to be clean, and I like having people over, and so I like creating. I think that's why people like HQ so much and why they say it feels like a house, like someone's apartment or whatever, because aside from the layout, I make it like a place you want to come over to and like get comfortable. People come to the shop, and half the people who come to the shop ask if they should take off their shoes. They come in the door and they're like, oh, should I take off my shoes? And I'm always like, totally up to you. You can. And like half of people take off their shoes at the front because it's just got that vibe. And I like making spaces like that for people where you can be really comfortable and cozy. So it's a part of that, but it's also a little bit like that desire for you to look at me and be like, oh, she's got it together. But the habit, the discipline of just keeping things a certain way all the time when someone's eyes are not watching, someone is not looking at what, the state of my life is difficult for me. It's much easier for me to have things together when I'm like concerned that other people will see it. And that's something that I need to work on for myself. To have a sense of discipline for my own sake, not because other people see me doing well or, accomplishing these things or whatever, because I want my life to look a certain way. I want it to feel a certain way. I want to have certain things and certain experiences. And the behaviors that I'm trying to develop as regular habits are the behaviors that I believe align with those realities. You know what I'm saying? If that makes any sense. So yeah, discipline, something I'm working on. And this full moon's like really bringing that up really big for me. Really big for me. So let me show you guys these journals. Okay. Let's journal it up. And I won't bore you to death because I know some of you are not big into journals or journaling. But if I can make the case, if I can be the abogado, I guess it'd be the abogada. If I can be the attorney at law for the journal, the journaling thing, it makes a super, super, super huge difference. I think it makes a super, super, super huge difference. If you are wanting to really incorporate magic, witchcraft, a particular spiritual tradition, or some type of like skill, like learning divination. Hey, Lady Leo, I think it's absolutely critical. I made the mistake, don't be like me. I made the mistake of so many years of not really journaling my practice. And when I say my practice, that could be absolutely anything for you. Okay, absolutely anything for you. It could be something as simple as like right now, maybe you just read some books and you're watching some videos. That's your practice, okay? Wherever it is that you are starting, maybe you just bought your first tarot deck and you're not even really sure why, it just called to you, it's pretty, whatever. That is your practice. Like, that's where you're starting, that's absolutely fine. Anything that you're doing related to that stuff, jot it down somewhere, because it is going to make whatever it is you're trying to do, whether you're trying to learn something to like be, you know, super skilled at it, whether you are just trying to like learn, you know, learn how to heal yourself, whatever your intention is with what you're learning and why you're in spaces like this and watching videos like this, jot it down, journal it, and keep track of it, because it's going to make that go a lot faster, I think, and smoother, and will allow it to cement for you. Because at the end of the day, you really don't waste your time. This is going to maybe seem like kind of controversial, because I probably should be like, come on over, baby. Remember that song? But like, come on over, you know, to the witching side. Like, come be a part of this. And like, I don't feel that way at all. You know, I feel like there are a lot of people, probably people in this room right now, no offense, who at the end of the day just don't really think that that don't really think that magic is real, that don't really think that witchcraft is real, that don't really think that divination is real, and are looking to be convinced by something. And if that's you, I think that is like totally okay, but I don't necessarily know how to speak to those folks, is what I'm saying. So if that is not you, and this is something that you want to really integrate into your life, you've already gone beyond the point of needing to be like convinced that all is energy, that we are all connected, that there are forces outside of ourselves that can't be seen. If all of those things are things that you don't need to be convinced of, now you are ready to be like, I want to actually learn how to interact with this energy. I want to learn how to transmute it, to manipulate it, to grow with it, to use it to heal, to use it to grow plants, etc., then you should be journaling. Because you want to see actual results for yourself, and you want to have a record of like how you got to your conclusions. Because I think that's what makes things stick in our lives. When we have results and we have something that we can demonstrate, and it's not just like an idea, like, oh, I think this will help my life. I think this will be, you know, this will improve. Maybe if I pray over here, this, like when you go beyond that and you're at a point where you're like, I know that this is going to improve my life, I just maybe don't exactly know how to do it. Journaling how you get to the how to do it is great, because then you have a reference, you know what to go back to, and the next time you have a similar issue, you are ready. You know, you can flip back to what you did the last time and you know, put a different spin on it or whatever, update it if need be, and now you've got a practice. You know what I'm saying? Now it's a practice. Now it's a part of your life. When such and such things happen in my life, I go get this candle, I get this herb, I call on this spirit, and it becomes a part of your life, you know? And then you still get the books, and you still, you know, watch the videos, and you still like just explore conversations for the sake of growth and like all of that good stuff. But now it's a part of like your life. Journaling will definitely get you there. And how you keep your journal matters. So what I learned the hard way, after a very, very, very long time of doing things in a way that I believe is not productive, I figured something out. And I was like, and when it dawned on me, I was like, are you serious? Because the reason why it should have been this should not have been news to me, is that I am a diary keeper. I have kept a diary since I was 8 years old, and I've kept every single one. I still have them. They're all in a box. I have had diaries of all forms, including online diaries when, the online diary thing came along pre-Facebook. And I've diaried all the time. And the fact that it did not occur to me that that's what I should be doing in terms of my magical and spiritual experiences is like, what? How did I? But anyway, I got all confused. And when I first started my journey into witchcraft at 12, you know what I'm saying? I was not creating anything of my own. I actually still, I wish I still had that Book of Shadows, because even though it literally was it was all like magazine clippings of things that were sort of witchy to me, and ripped out photocopies of pages from my high school library, and it was a mess. It was an absolute mess, and it was none of my own work or anything, but it was kind of like a giant collage of all things magical that interested me. I threw it away because, of course, it served no purpose. But I had started there, and then I graduated from that to several other things, but the problem with those other things is that they were all created from the perspective of me trying to make a textbook, a magical textbook. And I think, I grew up on Charmed, so in my defense, these are my influences. But the idea of there being a, problem in your life, and you go running up into the where were they? The attic. You throw open the book, and there's a recipe, exactly for this thing that you're going through. It's kind of the perspective that I was thinking when I first started trying to keep some type of a magical journal. And that was, I think, a mistake, because it resulted in me trying to create something that wasn't really a lived experience. You know what I mean? It was it has dividers, and it's got, all these charts, and all of these how-tos and spells that are written out with ingredients and steps, but I haven't even ever done them before. But I just thought that oh, this is something that could happen. I should have this. And I spent a lot of time trying to create that type of a journal, and that's not very helpful, is what I've learned. That's not very helpful. Those types of books, which are typically called grimoires, but sometimes not, and it gets confusing. But those types of books, the types of books that we tend to buy that are instructional like that, are not the types of books that we should be trying to create when we are on our magical journeys. Maybe one day you will be able to distill all of the things that you have written and experienced and create a book that guides others. But for your own journey, it really should be a diary. Literally, dear diary, today I bought some candles. I just wanted to have them. I found a new shop. Just literally a diary of everything and anything in your life, and also obviously you're trying to track your magical / spiritual growth or progress or what have you. So you want to record those things, but everything in your life is a part of this process. So just journal. And if you didn't do a ritual or cast a spell or do anything particularly witchy today, that's okay. Journal anyway. Write a few lines down about what was going on in the day. Or maybe if nothing magical happened at all, you did nothing that you feel is particularly worth noting, and you're not a journaler, so you don't really know how to talk about your day to a piece of paper, then just take a second to journal some astrological info. Maybe you're new to all of this and you want to see whether or not astrology really actually makes an impact in your life, whether or not you can see any differences in how your life feels based on what's going on. Maybe if there's nothing particular you want to write about for the day, you just note that today was, a full moon in Leo and you felt really like energized, and just literally 10 words or whatever. It'll make a big difference, I promise. And that is a much, much better approach than trying to create wonderful recipes and beautiful Book of Shadows pages and, all of that stuff. Just what happened today? What was the energy? What was the vibe? Maybe something happened that's worth noting. Maybe it didn't, and I just want to track something. I think will really, really help. So let's get into the journals. All right, now, don't let this overwhelm you. For me, this is not a lot, but you do not need to have all of these journals. But I'm just going to tell you, what I do with them so that, I don't know, maybe it'll help you if you are trying to specifically. See, my thing is, I want my journals to be a record of what I'm learning and what I'm doing, but I also want them to kind of be educational too. You know what I mean? And I think Betty, this is what you were talking about, having some journals that are about recording what's happening to you, and then having other journals that are for taking notes in certain classes that you might be taking, or your tarot journal, or things that you're learning and stuff. And I think a key way to get rid of having so many different journals, if you are taking your spiritual and magical path that seriously, is to combine them. Okay, so this is how I've combined some things, and I think it will help. All right, so first of all, this one, I'm just going to get out of the way because it's not as exciting, but this is my dream journal. Okay, as you can see, scribbled nonsense, really. I don't know if that's legible at all. It says, okay, so this is just a little notebook. I've spilled water on it. It's been through a lot, and it just sits by my bed. And I have a pen right there ready to go, and I try to remember to keep it open to a blank page. And in the middle of the night, in the dark, I will just reach over and write something if I woke up and there's something there. So a lot of times I can't even read what I wrote, but sometimes there's enough there to remind me or trigger me, and I'll occasionally go back. And this is interesting. This is just what I happened to open it to. This is from November. It says me in a something like a chess class. Waiting to talk to my guides. There were answers. Then I woke up with an idea. I was holding up a purplish red paper back book about guides, ? Mami Wata, Sybil, ? Interesting. I might need to revisit that idea. On November 9th, I wrote, I remember giving Gigi half of a tub of chunky peanut butter. Gigi's one of my best friends. We've been best friends since I was 12. And on November 9th, I dreamt that I remember giving her half a tub of chunky peanut butter. Okay, and then sometimes I actually have the ability when I wake up in the morning to remember something significant and can sit and write out a whole story. But a lot of times it's just little scribbles of nonsense. Okay, so dream journal. I do think it's a good idea for that to be a separate journal, not combined with anything else necessarily. Yeah, it should just, because then that makes it easier to move it and then forget to have it by the bed. And then, like, I think you should have a dream. It doesn't even have to be a journal. You can have a dream notepad. You can have a dream, you know, because you can throw them out after a while if you want. I like to keep things, but you can voice record yourself if you sleep with your phone by your bed or what have you. But the dream journaling thing, I think that's just good life etiquette. Like, I don't even know if that's like a magic witchy thing. I think everybody should record them. Hey JB, hi Mumba, hi Linda, what's up guys? No, never late, always on time. No, I don't really draw so much in my journals. I will like cut pictures out and tape them in. I've been doing that a lot. Yeah. Oh, I forgot about this microphone. I hope I'm not like screaming in your faces. Okay. Dream journal. Then, should we do magical or mundane? Should we do magical or mundane first? The magical is a little longer. You should know that. Full disclosure. Because consent should be informed. Magical or mundane? Can you see them? Mundane, says Betty. Oh, that surprised me. That surprised me. Linda coming in for the mundane. Okay, all right, okay. JB said. All right. That's 3 for mundane. Okay, so we'll go with that first. Okay, so this is my Commit 30 journal. I got the larger size this year. Okay, another one for mundane. All right. Shout out to Nicole Blood Moon Prayers, Blood Moon Bruja, and her super dope sigils and prayers and stickers. You can get like her prayers and her sigils in sticker form, which is really cool. So shout out to her. This is her evil eye sticker and sigil. Love it. At Blood Moon Prayers on Instagram. Yes, you have a Commit 30 planner too, Mika? Yeah. You know what? You would. Okay, because you get it done. And this is very much a get it done planner. I love it. The reason why I love it is because it is a good combination of like the whole, you know, set goals, create action steps, repeat affirmations, like that whole thing in terms of being productive or making progress in your life or like getting through your year or whatever. So it's got that element, but then it also just has the element of being a good planner in the sense that it's organized in a way that makes sense. It's got space for writing. I think folks who like a week orientation where like you get a big chunk of just empty space for each day of the week in your pages probably won't like it. I'm not so sure if they have that type of a version, but I don't quite need that. I prefer to be able to see my whole week like laid out visually in front of me. And just write less, you know, make bullet points or whatever, because I do have multiple calendars, so I can elaborate on things in other places. So I just need to like be able to open up my week and be like, all right, what's coming up? What's happening? So it's really wonderful for that. It comes with stickers, or I mean, you have to purchase them, but they have different options for stickers. And yes, I am maybe a little too old for that, but I don't know why no, that's not true. I do know why stickers motivate me. I think stickers motivate me because when I was a little kid, my Aunt Pauline, may she rest in peace, one of the sweetest people I have ever known, who was a school teacher, like made life better for me with my mom. Because I was like at a little age where like I was not wanting to do stuff like clean up and things like that, but I was like old enough that I like should start doing these things. And she came to visit one year and she made a like reward sticker chart thing for our refrigerator that had like all of our little house chores, you know, make your bed and like clean up your dishes and like all the little things that you give someone, you know, age 7 to 12 or whatever, starting to do this stuff. And my mom could put gold, blue, green, silver, and gold stickers every week based on like how we did with those things. So I think I have like a really sweet soft spot for stickers. Anyway, they have useful stickers that you can use. So I like the sticker thing. But the affirmation goal setting thing combination is really, I think, what knocks it out of the park for me. Okay, you set your vision for the year and all these different areas of your life. You write out what your goals for the year are, which is different from your vision board. Remember, vision board is how you want to feel, what you want to sense, what you want to experience. Your goals are the things you want to do. So you have a goals page. I like to take a picture of my vision board and then tape it in. So I remember that just to keep it in my mind. And then every month you pick a monthly goal. Thank you for supporting me, Valentonia. I appreciate that. You pick a monthly goal and then you write out what your action steps are. And then at the end of the month, and I need to fill this out for January, you write how well you did. You also, so you have a goal for the month and then you have a commitment for the month. So you have a goal that you want to reach and then something that you commit to for yourself or whatever. So then you have a commitment. My commitment was my 2-week detox, which you can see I succeeded. And, I didn't put the stickers for the last 2 days. My reward was going to be something else, but I crossed it out and made it cannabis. So that was my reward for January. And then every week you also get the opportunity to commit to something. And up here is usually where I put the things I'm going to make sure that I do in a day in sticker form, so I don't have to take up a lot of paper writing it. So this was like the week of the 16th. So on that Monday, I commit to making dinner. I usually like make a big salad and something like a soup or whatever that I can take to the shop every day as leftovers. So I do that at the beginning of the week. I commit to washing my hair, which I think I did that week. Payday, pay in the witches, yes. This is the day that I write checks to the witches. It was the new moon, so I commit to fasting, and the Sunday I commit to groceries. So getting the groceries. Yeah, so it keeps you on task. Obviously, like any other planner, it's got the day broken down. It's got to-do lists on the side for work and for life. So it's got that going on, but then it keeps you kind of motivated with a reward system and like a tracking system, you know, for how you're doing. And then, you know, it's got these like motivational affirmations and quotes throughout the book. Start before you're ready. The sticker book comes with a lot. So if affirmations and encouragements are your thing, are good, then you can do that. But the reason why I wanted to show you guys this, aside from just being a good journal, or planner rather, is I like to use my planner as my magical planner as well. And I have fumbled through this for years, and I finally figured out something that kind of works for me, with this journal, because I love like the Llewellyn spell like planner book. I love all of the witchy planner books out there, right? But the problem with them is they're not really a serious planner typically. You know, usually they're really focused on the magic. They've got spells and astrological information and like all of this stuff, but they're not necessarily set up for somebody running a business. Someone who's in school and a student maybe on like the college level, someone who really also needs a good planner that works for scheduling the rest of your life as well. So, oh my God, I've done so many things. One time I took the Llewellyn planner for the year and then I hole punched it. And then I put it into the rings of a Filofax binder style planner that I have. It was a hot mess. It was super sloppy. The pages were always coming out. But I was trying to get all the witchy information that I needed into my regular planner that I wanted to use. And it was just, so. Now I use my Commit 30 journal or planner. And I put the information that I need in it. And it does require a little bit of time, but I usually make like a day of it every year when I reset my new planner, you know. I'll sit down with my stickers and I'll go through and I'll put, certain people's birthdays, and I'll put, I put in all of the book club meetings. I put in all the Witches of Color Zoom meetings. I put in, all the stuff like through the year that I already know about. Let me show you the book club stickers. So I have these book club stickers. Can you see that? And then I get to write in what the name of the book is and how many stars I give it. I'll go through and just have a little day of putting in all my stickers for the year that like I already know about. Obviously every week I'll add new ones, obviously. But I'll go through and do like the big things of the year and stuff like that. So when I do that, I add in my magical life, my pagan life, my spiritual life. I put that information in here so that I have it. So in the boxes up at the top, what I commit to, that would be the space where I would write like what holiday it is or something. So this was this past week. So Imbolc is up here. I don't know if you can see that. Imbolc is up here. Then over here, I have the full moon, and I have written in the time and the sign, and I also have a sticker for that. That's a separate set of stickers. I found these on Etsy. I actually ordered these moon stickers specifically for this situation, for my planner, moon stickers. I'm so corny. But yeah, so I put in the full moon and the new moon in sticker form all throughout the year. I go through and put those in. I write down what time, what the sign is going to be. And I just, I make a little afternoon of like just putting in all of this information. In the beginning of the book, and this is new for me this year, they have this page with all, the whole calendar, and there's a list down here of all of the holidays. And so in the space underneath, I have added all of the like feast days and special days of the different saints or spirits that I honor, or, traditions I align myself with that I want to make sure I know about certain days, etc. I wrote that down there, basically my guide of holidays for the year. And throughout the book, in my little like I commit to part at the top of the page, when I'm writing what holiday is happening, I will include these holidays. Okay, so that worked for me. I have never been able to find a like magical planner that also really was a good just planner for somebody who does a lot of planner keeping. Some people, obviously, you know, I'm sure most of you are like techie and everything like that and probably rely on like your phone calendars and stuff like that. But I will probably always be like a paper planner. I much prefer to have some place to just be jotting things down and stuff like that. And so since that's something that really is always a part of my life, I infuse the magical witchy things that I want to do or know about into that. So that's the mundane type of magical keeping. That's something that you can do if you feel like, oh God, keeping a diary is like way too much. It's like, you know, I can't do that. Try to maybe just do that. Maybe you already have a calendar or some type of planner just for your life. Just throw some magical stuff in there. You know what I'm saying? If you have on your calendar that there is a Sabbath coming up, there's an equinox or something coming up, it doesn't surprise you. It doesn't come up on you last minute. You're not waiting at the last minute to be like, oh man, you know what? I would love to attend, you know, like a May Day festival. Like that would be so cool. If you plotted it out on your calendar January 1st and you knew it was happening, you know, you might make better preparations. And these things might start to become like a part of your life and not just things that you read about and think about and like wish you participated in, but that you know, actually did. That's the idea. So put a little bit of that, or put all of that if you can, just into your regular plans, your regular life. You know what I'm saying? So when I open up my planner and I look at the week along with so-and-so's Reiki session and the meeting I'm having with the witches at the shop, I'm also thinking about how, you know, the moon is going to be full today. That's a part of just like my conceiving of the week. And then there's like, you know, there's like empty note pages at the end of each month or something like that. You could jot some notes back there about like anything that you did do. Right there in the book. Your magical record keeping does not need to be a magical looking book or even really feel like a magical experience. But I promise that keeping track of like something helps immensely. So that's the mundane. And now the magical. Are we ready? ¿Tú estás listas? If you're joining, welcome. These high teas are usually for members only. However, I was like not able to do that, I don't think. I was trying to and I was setting it up and it wasn't an option. I don't know what that's about. So if you want to tune into these sessions all the time, then you might consider becoming a Coven member. But for now, welcome, bienvenue. Thank you for joining. What order? Okay, yes, it has come to me. Okay, ready? All right, so, and I think this is particularly what we were talking about, Betty, in book club about journaling, that I was trying to explain, but I was kind of all over the place and I was like forgetting and I was like, wait, what? And then I was like, you know what? Let me just explain myself like more clearly. Okay, so I think this system is one of the best for helping to cut down on having a bunch of journals. Also, the mundane thing really, really helps. Like I said, I think the dream journal, there's nothing you can do about it. I think that is just going to have to be its own journal. So that's one you're going to have. I think everybody should be having that. But we're trying to cut down on all of the magical journals everywhere. having a mundane journal is going to help a lot with that, because instead of having a planner for your life and a planner for your magical stuff, you'll just have a planner. So boom, that right there already cuts down on the feeling of having an overwhelming amount of magical journals, because again, it's your mundane planner, so it, you know, doesn't really feel necessarily like a magical journal, even though it's got all that useful information. That's really more where that should be. Like in your magical journal, if you are writing, like in your book of shadows, or, you know, whatever you want to call them, if you are writing about, let's say, a holiday that you want to participate in, plan to participate in, whatever, you're learning about it, you write about that holiday in your journal. Having the date of the holiday in your mundane planner is way more effective than the fact that you wrote down the date in your magical planner. You know what I'm saying? May 17th or whatever the special day is going to come up on you, and you're going to be like, no, actually what really happens is May 20th hits, and you're flipping through your journal and you're like, oh shit, May 17th was the feast of such and such a day. You know, I'm trying to build a relationship with that energy. I'm trying, like, damn, I should have done that. That's really what happens. Because it's in your magical journal, which you're probably not checking every day. Write about those things in your book of shadows, but in your everyday mundane planner, have that feast day written down. So that kind of like, you know, makes what you're talking about or learning about or whatever in your book of shadows style journals actually a lived experience, and eliminates the need for a magical planner, like calendar planner, okay? And then the book of shadows things, I kind of have right now, you could call it a mini and a grande book of shadows, or I think the more appropriate term, this is something Missy brought up in book club. I hope you guys are okay with me talking about that. I'm gonna figure out how to make this video member only. But we were talking in book club about a book of mirrors, and I was trying to remember too, because I think she said she couldn't remember where she'd heard that term, and I was like, dang, I have heard that term too, and I can't quite remember where I heard it either. I feel like maybe a Cunningham or Buckland book maybe referred to this. So you might want to use this term, or like Google it and look it up and stuff like that. And I think this was the distinction. I can't quite recall. So maybe this would work for you guys. But I have like 2 book of shadows, or maybe what you would call a book of mirrors and a book of shadows. Not quite sure. But basically, this little guy lives in my prayer table. So, like, over there. My prayer table drawer is where this lovely little guy lives. And this is a journal that probably would best be described as a diary. This is when I wake up in the morning and I am over there and I do my prayers and my meditations. Not all the time, but a lot of the time, I will feel called to write about whatever. And a lot of times it's something witchy that I'm writing about, but a lot of times it's also just like life. For me, obviously, the two have become completely integrated. So that is going to be the case for me. That might not necessarily be the case for you. But either way, I encourage you to write about just anything and everything, whatever comes to you, you know, and be consistent about it. And it can be the magical stuff. It can be the thought process behind things spiritual. It can be, you know, notes from a class that you sit in on, or from a chapter in a book that you read, and all of that good stuff. You know, I think having something like this is more of like a regular, daily, all the time companion that can be magical and definitely will, but won't necessarily be exclusively. And this is the space I feel like you talk about what you are planning, what you are learning about, what you are thinking about, that maybe isn't cemented in stone just yet, or isn't like finalized in any kind of a way, but that you're just thinking about and that you're just like progressing through, you know. So you have your first journal. I like it to be small because that makes it easier to write in it all the time, move it around, take it into a ritual, a circle, you know, carry it on you when you go to your first event, you go to a festival. You know, it can just be like your little companion of like all things that happen in your life, really. And you can choose to like limit it to the magical stuff, but that's all where I would keep all of that. And I would also I would maybe also keep like notes of classes and stuff, or on books. Like if you're the type of person that takes a copious amount of notes, as one of my old teachers used to say, you just take a ton of notes, you read a book, and then you have like notes that are like just as long as like the book you were reading. If you take notes like that, then maybe that won't work for you. You probably just need notebooks for taking notes. And if you take notes like that, I had a lot of classmates that took notes like that. If you take notes like that, just ask yourself this: do you ever go back and really read over those notes? Okay, when we were in school and we did the copious notes things, we would read back over those notes in order to take tests and all of that good stuff. As adults, we don't necessarily have to take tests. So if you are not actually going back over those notes and using them as like a reference guide, you know, your own cheat sheet, your own like summation of all things learned, and you're just accumulating like this manuscript of things you've copied, maybe reevaluate how you take notes. Be a margin note taker. Be a margin note taker. If you read books and you sit there and write like summaries of what you are reading, and you go back to that, and that your notes now become your guidebook, you don't really need the book anymore, now your notes are the thing, then keep doing that. If you take a whole bunch of notes on books and then the book goes somewhere and then the notebook goes somewhere and neither one are really ever like referred to again, stop doing that, and instead start taking notes in the margins of your books. Get physical copies instead of electronic copies. I guess you can actually take like notes and highlight in like Kindles and stuff like that, right? So you don't have to necessarily get a physical book actually probably to do this, but just have some way in which you can take your notes within the book itself. And what you want to do is in the margins of your books, write like keywords, or kind of like give each paragraph a title or a reference. You could even use tabs for this if you feel like you really need more space. You could get tabs that you can write on to give yourself a little bit more room for a little summary. But just sort of summarize the major paragraphs so that now your book is a reference. You can flip through and see where you've taken notes about what certain areas of the book are on, and then you can come back to it. But that's a better way of note taking from books. Because just the copying to never come back to them doesn't actually really help. I've tried that because I thought it was like more studious. And then I was like, no. I need to be able to pick up this book and be like, where was it where I saw that? Yes, I said this about that. Because you're absolutely right. Your intuition is right, or your instincts are right. You're absolutely correct that if you write down things, you are more likely to remember them, but you don't need to write down everything. If you write a couple of words in the margin, like you're gonna remember that, and you'll like a month later you'll be like, oh, I remember, where was it? It was that page where I had drawn that little flower and I wrote that smiley face after I said it. Like, you'll remember that little note that you made, and you'll know where to come back for that reference point. Anyway, that was a little bit of a tangent on note taking, but Book of Mirrors is where you just keep track of absolutely everything. Okay, let's see, any comments? Okay, all right, we're all caught up. All right, then we have the Book of Shadows. Okay, then we have the Book of Shadows. Trying to keep a Book of Shadows like as a contemporary journal, I think, is one of the places where I like fumbled, because you do want them to be useful like a reference book. Okay, because oh yay, I'm glad you do, Nuri. I the one type of journaling I never really could wrap my head around was bullet journaling. I feel like bullet journalers are like the like Olympians of journaling. Like, y'all really get it. Like, y'all really journal. I just like stationery and office supplies, and I like to write things down. So it works for me. But I'm glad that you enjoy it. But the thing about the Book of Mirrors, like keeping a diary of your whole life, is that while it's very helpful magically, because it's a record of just what is really going on, the things you're really learning and experiencing, and how that's actually happening, it's really shitty when it comes to references, because you can't keep track of anything. You know what I mean? If I was writing about like the ritual that I'm doing tonight, for example, it's definitely in my Book of Mirrors. One day I wrote about how I got the cabinet that I'm going to be using. A couple of months before that, I was gifted a crystal that's going to be a part of this ritual. And, I have written about all of those individual things. But if I were going to say to myself, okay, how do I do the ritual that I'm going to do tonight? I wouldn't be able to just like flip to a page and be like, okay, boom, this is how I do this. I've got to go back and retrace, and it's all over the place. It's a real life experience. My Book of Shadows, it would be great if it was the type of place where I could just come to and say, okay, if I want to do this type of full moon ritual and create this thing that I'm creating, here's how to do it. This is how I did it one time. My Book of Mirrors explains how over time I came into possession of all of the little things that are going to be a part of this ritual. But the Book of Shadows is going to just have the ritual. You feel me? You feel me? Your Book of Shadows should be like your scrapbook of magical and spiritual experiences. Photos, cutouts, recipes, instructions, etc. Your Book of Mirrors, or your diary, whatever you're calling it, is just what is happening every day, how is life playing out. And here is where I will talk about the fact that I did a ritual. I'll talk about what's going on in my life that led me to want to do it in the first place, and why I chose this, and et cetera, and what the experience is like when I do it, and I'll talk about what the results are later on, and yada yada yada. It'll every day I'll talk about whatever is going on in my life that has to do with this ritual or anything else going on. But in here is where I will actually have the breakdown of what I did in the ritual, what ingredients I needed, what I made, maybe what I said, or where I found words if I decided to use other people's words. That's where I would put that information. So in the future, when I come back, I do have a place where I can just go and find that information. But that's not my primary goal. You know what I'm saying? That's not my primary focus. And I think if you put your primary focus on your journal and just keeping an everyday record. Like I said, even if it's just a line about like what the moon sign is, just keeping like a simple everyday record is more of a goal. Hello. Is more of a goal. And then the Book of Shadows can be something that flows from that. So like I'll write in this all the time, and then one day when I have time, you know, or something astrological is going on where it makes sense or whatever, I'll sit down and I'll update this. You know, I'll actually write things out that I want to like put in, or I might have, you know, things will happen. People will give me stuff, or I'll find things, or I might print something. Hold on, I'm looking for. Okay, so I'll have like words to things that I may have printed. This is a recipe that was given to me. Very special recipe. And it's not necessarily like a magical recipe, but it's related to the shop. And it just feels tied to what I was talking about last time about like providing for other witches and, you know, creating cool spaces and events and things like that. And so it's special. So that's just going to get like glued in or, you know, taped in. But whenever I want to come back to that or create a ritual around this recipe or what have you, you know, boom, it's in there. Yeah, this is where I will actually transfer things that have been happening for a few weeks into there. Okay, so that system works for me. It takes the pressure off of like trying to create a Book of Shadows in real time. It's something that, you know, flows from my everyday experiences. And keeping track of your everyday experiences is way easier. And then if your everyday experiences lead you to create something, experience something, learn something that you feel like I must have this for the future, I must, you know, record this in some way, then that's when you take a picture of it, you know, print it out, write it down, whatever, and you put it into your Book of Shadows. Make sense? That's my system on the journals. And then the very, very last thing, which is really, really super quick, I think that this is super helpful. You know what? I'm going to say it's going to be helpful for everybody because you can do what you want with it essentially. But this is what I call my prayer journal. Thank you, Betty. May everything you give to me come back to you 3 times 3. Thank you. This is what I call my prayer journal. Shout outs. And in it literally are just prayers. So if you are trying to do rituals and you're trying to make them regular in your life, one thing that you might, you know, find happening is that like you might look up the words to say to something one time and then you kind of forget about it. Maybe you don't write them down. Maybe you print it out and then you throw the paper away or whatever. And then the next time, you know, the next year comes around, you want to do the same thing. You don't have the same words or whatever. I like to use the same words over and over and over as much as I can because I feel like that builds up the energy and the power of the words for me. And I think especially for those of you who are not used to prayer, not accustomed to it, or saying what you call quote unquote prayers, feels really like not inspiring, not it doesn't rev you up. You might want to try saying the same prayers every time you do the same things. You know what I'm saying? Come up with a short little prayer to say to yourself before you eat. Have a little prayer before you go to bed. Have a certain prayer that you say every time you create a new altar. I have an altar blessing prayer. That is the same prayer I say every time I make a new altar. I cleanse it with smoke and I cleanse it with some other things and I say these certain words. You might have a prayer every time you honor a certain saint. every time that you celebrate a certain day. And if you have those same words that you start to say, you build up these traditions for yourself. And, you know, if you have a family or friends that you're celebrating with too, or doing these things with too, your coven, saying the same words over and over and over really helps to build up both the tradition, one, the energy of the prayer or incantation or spell, whatever you want to call it, as you know, two. But also it helps you to remember it. And so instead of having to flip through books and get online and look for words to say every time you do certain things, you already have the words that you need to say. Maybe you can modify it or what have you. So I have this prayer book, and it's like linen paper. It's so beautiful, and I love writing on it. But the problem is, all my tabs, none of them stick. So finding things can be a little annoying. So I usually have to flip through everything all the time. But what I'll do is, you know, I will record prayers that I want to say all the time. So this ancestor prayer here is the prayer that I say every week when I leave offerings at my ancestor altar. I no longer have to come to the book for it because, you know, it was all the time. But for the first couple of months, probably, I would just grab my book every, you know, Monday morning and grab it and say my prayer. And that really helps, right? So I have a little tiny 2-line before bed prayer. Gods of dreams, goddess of visions, be with me as I journey into the dream world, right? So if you say that every day before bed, that's going to stick in your mind. It's going to build the energy of that, those words, etc., etc. And I found this useful because if I found a prayer that I like, came up with words to a spell that I like, that I, you know, do often, or something like that, a ritual that more likely a ritual. I feel like spells are like one-offs, and rituals are obviously rituals, things you do often. So words to rituals that I would do often, like the words to the charge of the goddess and the different things that I tend to repeat every time I draw down the moon, like do that every full moon. So I want to write that down and just have that. So ritual type words and stuff like that, having them in either my Book of Mirrors or even my Book of Shadows didn't really work for me. Having them in the Book of Mirrors, obviously the problem is just finding them, you know, because it's just your journal. So it's like, when was that time that I thought about that prayer, or that I found that prayer online or in that book or whatever? So that's the problem there. And then the Book of Shadows, the problem there is it's like, it's got a whole bunch of other stuff going on. That's one. And two, I chose personally a very large book. So grabbing this every time I want to say a prayer, you know, for 2 seconds or something is just like too much. So having a journal just for the words to rituals or prayers that I like to say regularly, very, very helpful tip. So all in all, that's not bad, right? 5 journals? I think that's bad. But that covers really everything. Like I said, if you fall into that category of needing to like literally rewrite the books that you are reading, or like write whole books every time you take a class with notes, then yes, unfortunately, maybe you will need some additional journals just to dedicate to those classes or to those books. But that may not be the best way to go about it. But when it comes to like magical journaling, I think this really like gets it done. If I take a class, I will just take notes in my Book of Mirrors, take that with me, grab that, take some notes. And then if there's something from there that I'm like, okay, this is going to become a part of my practice. These words are going to be what I say now. This recipe is mine now, da da da. Then it'll go into my Book of Shadows. It'll be a lot easier to find when I want to reference it. Yo. Okay. Any questions? I think my Instacart guy is texting me, so I won't stay much longer. So if you have questions, let me know. It doesn't have to be about journaling, but preferably, because like I said, I can't go too far down into the magical rabbit hole today. it's a regular Sunday for me. Groceries are on the way. Next is going to be watering the plants. Unfortunately, I'm going to be cleaning the bathroom now thanks to the super and his mess. So that's got to get done. But it was an excuse to clear some things out from under the sink. So, you know, I always like to look at the silver lining. We'll do that. I have an unbelievable amount of podcast editing and catching up to do. So I actually probably need to do some work today. I'm going to be doing work this week in the shop on the days that we are closed. Probably both days this week, which is a lot, but we're totally redoing the apothecary. I have a bookshelf coming in for better shopping of the book selection. So there's just like a lot. We have Single Mingle coming up at the end of the week, and there's still planning and arrangements to do for that. We're having a DJ, food, so much going on. So I might have to get a jump start on my work for the week today. The sigil sticker is from Nicole Blood Moon Bruja. She has a separate page for her prayers and sigils, I think, and stickers and stuff. And it's called @BloodMoonPrayers, all one word. @BloodMoonPrayers. Thank you, Linda. Jealous about the Single Mingle? Oh, I'm sorry, my love. Single Mingle Canada coming soon. You know, if this one is a blowout, then the sky's the limit, right? So if you are in the New York area, come on by. You don't have to be single to mingle, guys, okay? Certainly, there's going to be some icebreakers and some fun for getting to know folks if you are looking for a witchy bae or boo. But otherwise, you might just meet your next witchy best friend. Like, that's something that is at the core of what we're doing with HQ. There are plenty, we're blessed, it's New York City. There are many places where you can buy a candle, many places where you can get some crystals. What there are not are places where you can meet other people who are interested in the things that you are interested in, so that you have a friend to go to festivals with, so that you have someone that you can date who gets why there's like crystals in your bra, like, you know, to actually make friends. That was something I did not have as a young witch. There were bookstores, there were crystal shops, but there really wasn't like a space where I could go hang out, go to an event, go to parties, etc. So yeah, so that's important for us. So the Single Mingle is, you know, just one of the many things that we are doing to foster that community vibe, get to know people vibe, know who's out there vibe. We're gonna have a DJ. I'm so excited for the food. Oh gosh. The caterer came over to the shop yesterday to talk about like the run through. Oh my God. I'm so excited. And yeah, we're going to have rosé and bubbly. I'm going to be bartending, by the way. I don't know if I mentioned this. Like, I should be putting this out there because this might be like the thing that people need to know. But I'm going to be bartending, essentially, which is something that I did for a very long time, but not anymore. But I'm going to be doing a little bit of bartending because we're going to have some bubbly and some rosé. It's a 21 and over event, so please do bring ID. $10 online, $15 at the door, and it's going to be fun. Yes, little dancing, little food. There are vegan options. The whole spread isn't vegan. We're going with a charcuterie theme because what's more, you know, suave and romantic than charcuterie? So we have 2 different charcuterie boards that are like the main courses, and then we have a dessert charcuterie with a whole bunch of dessert options. No, you can't join online, honey. I was saying you can buy your tickets online or at the door. $10 tickets online or $15 at the door. Yeah, no. Yes, I know you got so excited. I'm so sorry to disappoint. But yeah, I'm excited for that. we have a lot going on. Herbalism classes, Reiki classes. We have an intro to sex magic class coming up in March and a crystals class, which I'm very excited about because one of the portions of the class, this is being taught by Alexis, who is our shop witch, who like specializes in color, sound, crystal healing therapy. She's just all around energy healer. She's so wonderful. But she is going to be talking about how to spot fakes, which is really important. I'm actually going to be sitting in on the class because I need to better understand that. She's going to be taking me to some gem shows so that I can learn a thing or two. As somebody with a magical shop, I need to increase my knowledge of crystals, I'm realizing. And not just from like the magical or energetic perspective, but like, you know, their physical properties, where they're sourced from, how to know I have good quality, I'm getting a good deal, so that I can pass the deals on to you guys and sell good quality crystals. Make sure I know I'm not selling things that are not real or whatever, you know what I'm saying? So I'm so grateful to have her in our circle of witches at the shop. So she's doing a class, and part of the class is how to spot a fake of the most common crystals. So definitely keep an eye out for those classes coming up and all that good stuff. But this weekend should be fun. But yeah, yo, that's my journal situation. That is how I kind of just incorporate what's happening in my life magically or spiritually into my everyday, while also creating some reference style material that is easier to actually flip through and utilize in like future situations and stuff like that. So I hope that's helpful to you guys. Helps you cut down on excessive journaling, or helps you increase to a good amount of journaling if you're not doing any right now, or maybe even fine tune your current journaling situation. I'm going to hit the road because the Instacart person's probably really annoyed with me. And I need to make sure that they're not getting me some nonsense. So I got to get out of here. Thank you for tuning into this. Oh, there goes Instacart again. Here we go. Thank you for tuning into this. I don't know if it will be publicly available into perpetuities. I'm going to check on that. But for whoever was able to tune in or check this on the replay, if it's available, thank you guys for hanging out, for having a high tea. If you had coffee, a roast and toast, if you will. Be on the lookout for the mugs. Yes. And I will catch you guys in the next one. All right. Happy full moon. Blessed be.